Hey guys, this is One-Eyed Willie. I put this C4 Corvette up on the lift to change the control arms, and I noticed that the rack was leaking. And since there was no videos on how to actually uninstall one, I thought I'd go ahead and make one, and so you can see the steps by which to remove it. Keep in mind, I've never done this, so it is going to be a trial by error. I've already replaced all the hoses and the pump I had rebuilt by turn one. And I didn't notice any leaking out of there when I had my wife jump in and turn it side to side. It seems to be leaking out of the rack. So let's get started and see what we have to remove to get this done. Now the first problem will be getting the hoses back off. When I put those on, obviously I had the pulley off. And since I have to adjust this AC delete pulley, I'm going to go ahead and take off the belt and also remove the idler pulley down here, just to see how much room I'm going to need to get a wrench in there. So now I'm going to go ahead and take the clamp off the boot that comes from the steering column. Okay, so there's the steering knuckle bolt right there. If you can see that, I'm going to go ahead and pop that off. Before you do that, always make sure your steering wheel is locked in center position, which I've already done. That way when you try to line it up and put it back in, everything will be in the correct spot. So now I've got the 11mm socket on there with some extensions. So let me take this out. All right, so I've got this one broke loose. I use this, I don't know what these are called. It's an offset claw. You can see it down there. And then I can just turn it with this. It came off a lot easier than I thought. So I've got that one off. Now I'm using the 18mm claw. I've got the other one loose, so I can loosen that up. And then we can go underneath. So next we're going to go ahead and take off the tie rod ends. I'm going to go ahead and replace the inner and outer tie rod. And then we're also going to take off the sway bar. Now this is a Van Steel sway bar, but the disassembly is about the same. Okay, so 18mm on this. Take this off. Yes, I use power tools because I'm lazy. And my high quality pickle fork. And it's off. All right, so we've got the sway bar disconnected. You see here and here. Tie rod ends are disconnected. So now to disassemble the sway bar, you've got two bolts here. It's always a good time to go ahead and take it apart, clean it, and re-grease it. And here you can see the other two bolts. All right, so I get these off. You've got a 15mm. You can do this with a ratchet or the lazy way. One thing I like to do is, as I'm disconnecting everything, I put everything in order of disassembly. For this job, I've also got the bolts soaking in some rust preventative. Okay, so on this side, we've got a couple bolts. Basically, it's a strap that clamps on this side. We've got one on this side, one on the other. It's a 13mm. So I've got this pivoting head, and it's actually not very hard to get off. I was surprised. So I found out why it's easy to turn, because it's a bolt and you have to support the other end with a 13mm wrench. Good thing is you can turn the top around so you can get at it and get your wrench in there and then loosen the nut. We'll go ahead and loosen this one here. It's a bolt. I've got a wrench behind it that I fished through there, so I can hold that and undo that bolt with a 15. So I got that loosened up. I just got to push it through. All right, so nothing's moving yet. So what I've got a 3/8 socket on a breaker bar, and then my little swivel. And now I can finally get to the one in the back without taking the boot off. Okay, so this bolt that was right here, once I got that clamp off, I could just pull it out by hand. All right, so I got this off. basically by shaking it and twisting it until it finally came loose. So I got it out. I went ahead and took this off, your oil cooler for your power steering. That was in the way. But basically this thing has to turn, would be 270 degrees. You just got to kind of play with it so that you can angle it and then just pull it out like this. So I'm going to get this out to turn 1, have them rebuild it, and put it back in when it comes back. Thanks for watching.